Alrighty, hi everyone. Welcome to the third day of Parent Spring Summit. I hope you really enjoyed the previous days and found these sessions very informational and beneficial for you and your student. My name is Natalie Del Real, and I am the internship coordinator, and I will let my co-presenter introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Francisca Castillo, and I am the Director of Chapman's Career and Professional Development Office. It is a pleasure to virtually meet you today. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. So over at our Office of Career and Professional Development, we thrive on our motto, which is we are your students' career connection for life. That is applicable to not only current students, but also alumni, employers, Chapman family, and all within the community of our university. We are critical in that because with the resources that our office provides, they're not only for life, but they're also absolutely for free. So in the event where your student, for example, currently, or if they're about to graduate, right, which is always fearful, but once they become the alumni that they will become, they do have those resources offered to them in our office. Literally, unfortunately, because we're not in person due to COVID, we still offer those resources and everything and services virtually. So anytime, if they have a doubt, if they're currently trying to find a job, an internship, or just need any type of career planning support, they're more than welcome to reach out to us virtually by visiting our website. Our contact information will be located below, but also Francisca throughout the presentation will be dropping our contact information for you to use. But your student is more than welcome to utilize our services whenever they need the help. I mean, really, we're just here for you whenever you need it. We are consistent of a great team pictured here with our career educators, with my assistants as our internship coordinator, as well as we are partnered with other school and college career advisors that offer college-specific support for your students. So in the event where your student has any questions with industry related, let's say they're from Dodge, so they have a little bit more narrow questions regarding the entertainment industry, they're more than welcome to, come visit us with any questions. But if we, for whatever reason, aren't able to assist them with those tailored questions, we refer them over to their college career advisor, and they're also able to help and assist them within that process. But overall, if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this presentation is to remember that we are your students' career connection for life, and that they identify Chapman as their #1 support. Alrighty, so the fun part. So these are the topics of discussion that we will be going over in our presentation today. We'll be discussing, for example, the importance of internships, how to search for one, how to apply for one when the opportunity comes along, and then overall, once you land that internship opportunity, does your student want to go ahead and consider registering it for academic credit to fulfill, for example, their major, their minor, or their overall graduation requirement. And that kind of alludes from one of the presentations that you guys probably tuned into for the academic advising session with Dina, how students have a lot of requirements that they have to hit before they graduate, and internships are a way to utilize that depending on the college and school that your student is a part of. So if I haven't already mentioned it before, internships are super important. In fact, they're actually very critical. So one of the fun facts that we wanted to share with you guys today is what's the importance of it. So did you know that 51.3% of internships actually result in full-time job offers? So within my job as internship coordinator, and I didn't touch this in the beginning, but for my role as coordinator is I help students with understanding the internship registration process. So one of the reasons why a student would want to register that for academic credit is because they want to fulfill, again, either their major, their minor, or their overall graduation requirements. But from what I've seen from our realm is with students, when they get that full-time job opportunity, they are able to, take part in that. They're also able to enjoy that within their time with the employer. But what I've seen from my experience is when students pursue an internship, let's say, for example, you have a student that's a sophomore and they've been working with this internship up until their senior year. There's a high likelihood where that student will actually be given a full-time job opportunity after they graduate. It's pretty common, and I've seen it happen quite a few times. Maybe perhaps a student doesn't have to wait till their sophomore year. Maybe they do this internship opportunity in the during their senior year. And even then, that employer is always looking to hire at the spot. So the internship opportunity is always a great way to kind of see what that student is capable of, whether they fit within their working culture and their team. And if so, they do provide those full-time job offers right after they graduate. And the good thing is, I also want to highlight, is that a lot of the employers that we work with are very, very happy with our Chapman students. The fact that we keep having them promote and wanting to recruit our students says a lot about how great of a Chapman talent pool that we have. The other thing that I wanted to touch on is of the interns that become full-time hires, 51.8% have a 5-year retention rate. So not only are these interns soon to be, full-time hires becoming, being a part of these companies, but they also stay within a very long time. With the employers that we work with, actually a majority of them, or a lot of them actually, are Chapman alumni. So that's the cool thing about that too, is that, they think Chapman first. And that's also something that alumni engagement also touched on yesterday's session. With the fact that, we love and our students, we also have students that become alumni, and also employers that want to, give back to Chapman by offering these employment opportunities to our students, and having more of that Chapman reputation, which is really awesome and cool to see. Internships are also a great way to explore, experience, and refine what career to pursue after graduation. Too many times have I seen, again, from my personal experience, students share, for example, in the internship that I pursued was a great way for me to actually determine whether or not I want to see myself in this industry. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. Sometimes students realize maybe this wasn't what I was looking for and wanting to do, with this industry, but, it's opened my eyes for other opportunities to come ahead. And internships are a great way to kind of testing the waters to see what you're passionate about, what are your interests that you want to see yourself, the working culture and whatnot. And it's a good way to not only pursue one internship and maybe pursue a lot. A lot of students I've seen have done internships within their sophomore year. And then they've continued on each year, maybe the same one or a different internship. It would be encouraged for them to do different types of internships to see what they're interested in. But if you happen to be any first year parents, it's never too early really to start this whole process. You can have them look into this and then prep themselves for sophomore year to begin looking for internships and possibly registering it for academic credit. Finally, internships help build tangible skills for your resume. So not only do you get this wonderful experience with working with these awesome employers, but you also are able to build these skills that you can utilize in other experiences that might come across to you. All right, Fran, I'll let you take that away.
Thanks, Nat. Okay, so this is one of my favorite slides. I've been with Chapman for 6 years, and it has been just wonderful to see the transformation of the office, and really just a key highlight of what career and professional development is on campus. And like she had said, it's for our alumni for life. So it's not just for our current students, but it's for alumni as well. Casey Jimenez, who is pictured here, she just recently graduated, and while Nat was saying the importance of internships, well, she's definitely one of the many, many students that we have at Chapman that have come through that have either worked in our office or just simply utilized our office for internships. So Casey, she just graduated. She was a business administration major with a marketing emphasis and also a Latinx minor. And she came her freshman year, and it's been truly amazing to see her growth. Because I think one of the great things is when she works in our office, we're also mentoring her and helping her, just learn how to talk to employers and really refine her skills while working in the career office, of course. But it's been fantastic because she's also done internships through the leads that we've been able to provide her. And so you can see some of the internships that are listed on this slide, which has been really fantastic to see. And again, since freshman to senior year, and then her involvement, of course, she's been very, very involved on campus. So all of these great things that she's a part of, her activities, her extracurriculars, on top of doing her major and her minor and her emphasis, has just really helped with employers and that visibility. And it's really helped her stand out. So it's been fantastic to watch her grow into a young professional, and to not only get her first job with us, all of her internships through our office, and then not only that, to be mentored and able to speak to employers that we have those relationships with. And so now she's currently working for Gallagher Insurance Company, and she has a full-time job there. She got an internship there in her junior year and senior year. And again, it turned into a full-time opportunity. And it's one of the many stories that we have in our office that we love to highlight with our students. But it's been incredible watching her journey. It's been fun to be a part of that process. So you can see her ultimate employment is an associate underwriter at Gallagher, and she is currently, being mentored by that team as well. So again, just a great student to highlight, and just to kind of share a little bit about, again, the importance of internships.
Yeah, and to go along with what Franny said, I mean, Casey is a perfect example of, your career connection for life. Although Casey did work with us for quite some time in our office, it's her constant involvement with us that makes us really happy for her, and that we're able to kind of tune in to see how she's doing, what she's up to. We also do that with other students that don't work within, that didn't work with our office, that we we keep tabs with and see, how are you doing? Just checking in, anything new. But we've really had a lot of students over time reach out to us, which is really nice to receive an email from them letting us know how life is going. Newer opportunities that have presented them, to them regarding, employment opportunities, schooling, or whatever the case may be. But we love to be a part of that, to our students' lives, to see how well they're doing, and if there's anything that we could absolutely, or anything that we could do for them, really, to help them within their career planning. I didn't mention this before, and it totally just went across my head, but I actually, similar to Casey, I actually did work myself at the career office. I actually was a student worker, and I'm a first-gen graduate from Chapman. So I remember being a part of this process where I couldn't find a job, or I needed support from Francisca, or from one of our wonderful career educators like Leanna Eisen or Janelle Farkas or Susan Shang, that you will have the opportunity to meet soon, hopefully. But they helped me with that process, with resume building, updating that resume, cover letters, prepping for my interview, whether it was coaching me over the phone or sending me an email, Natalie, this is what you need to work on or whatnot. They were helping me throughout that whole process. And I can guarantee you from firsthand experience that those services, that support is given to all students throughout campus. But overall, ultimately, I landed with this role as internship coordinator. Silly enough how funny life works, but the power of networking and seeing, what opportunities present themselves. I mean, you never really know when your students going to be presented that opportunity, whether it's a job or an internship, but being that yes man or yes woman to jump on those things really does take you to different routes, and presents wonderful opportunities in the long run.
So how to search? I mean, that's the big question. What do we do? Where do we post these positions? Where can you find these events? How do they network? Where does this all go? So we have, if you want to go to the next slide, thank you. How to search for internships. So for one, the biggest thing that I would say is that all the communication, I oversee our employer relations for the entire campus. And we have so many wonderful employers, whether they're alumni employers that are hiring, or just, all sorts of different companies within all the different industries. We make sure that we have employers that are connected to our university, and then of course to the school as well, to promote those opportunities. So what we have is a job portal called Handshake, and it is our one-stop shop for jobs, for internships, for volunteer opportunities, for students to find events that are going on that may pertain to their actual industry or their major. This is literally this is the one-stop shop for them to be able to view jobs, and you can see the link on here as well. It's that one-stop shop for employers. This is where the communication, the networking, all of the stuff that our team in our university is doing behind the scenes, that all of this information goes into Handshake. And then we create different events. Now, obviously, with changes in events and with COVID, we are 100% virtual. So we've been doing our fall and our spring career fairs virtually, which has been really popular and really great for a lot of different students, and again, with all of our different industries. So we have our spring career fair. We'll give a little plug. It's actually coming up. It's on March 3rd, coming up very soon. And again, they can look on Handshake for this information. And then again, we have company information sessions and recruiting sessions. So again, Handshake will have everything for the student to be able to view more, learn about the details, and then register for it. We just secured a great event with one of our distinguished alumni, Casey Kasprizik. He is a producer on The Bold and the Beautiful soap opera, if any of you tune into soap operas. I don't know if our students really do these days, to be honest, but nonetheless, he started in the mailroom and he's completely just, he's now the producer. He's been there for about 20 years doing really great things. And he's going to be doing a virtual information session and having Q&A and going live on the set with our students. So these are a lot of the different opportunities that come. We did one with Disney in the summertime. We just finished one with Pacific Dental Services, where our president, the president of that company, is a Chapman alum. We did a huge, a great series last fall semester with just, you know, we've done one with Disney, we've done one with Johnson & Johnson, Edwards Life Sciences, just some really fantastic partners that we have within our local community. And of course, we do help our students who may be out of state with other opportunities as well through our connections. So that network, you know, it's personal, it's professional. It comes from former employers that we work with. We really have great rapport with the employers that we service every single day. And it's just been really fun to be able to do all these different events and to really create the awareness for the students so that they are aware of, you know, what this company does, because it might not be exactly the most, you know, exciting name like Google, you know, but there's a lot of amazing companies in their backyard, or that we're always trying to create that educational awareness for them to understand that, you know, there's a lot of great opportunities, and we want to make sure that we connect them. So yes.
Exactly. And then to highlight what Franny's saying, for example, we have like a plethora of job and internship opportunities that we have on Handshake. I mean, there's never a doubt where we constantly, for example, our student staff is constantly, you know, approving new opportunities from employers and approving employer profiles on Handshake. So any moment when, you know, a student is looking for an opportunity, the number one thing that we tell them to is to look into Handshake if they haven't done so already. You know, that's just a great way for them to kind of give themselves a head start with looking for those opportunities. But of course, they can look at other platforms like LinkedIn or Indeed, but we do have all of those platforms available on our website. For example, you can click on chapman.edu/career, but Francesca will also drop in the chat box our link to that, and you can direct your students to finding those job boards to find those opportunities. But the other thing I also wanted to stress on is the events, the virtual events that we're hosting. Our office is constantly and actively promoting new events that are coming up every month. So the best thing that your student could do at this time is, you know, tuning in. For example, the one that's coming up, like as Francesca mentioned, is our spring virtual career fair. We have a lot of great employers at the moment that we would love for your students to have the opportunity to meet with them via Handshake, whether in a one-on-one session or in a group session, to learn more about that employer and possibly, you know, obtain an opportunity, whether that's a job or an internship. But, you know, it's welcome to all students, especially if you are a first-year student or if you have a first-year student. They're welcome to join in and, you know, just to kind of hear about the company. And then hopefully maybe next year when they're a sophomore, they're able to jump on those opportunities as well. But we're constantly always promoting something new on Handshake with events that we're doing that are virtual that your student can take part in.
Thank you, Nat. All right. So one of the really amazing things that we've been able to do the past 2 years with our employers is highlight them and make sure that, you know, we honor them for everything that they're doing. There's so much recruiting that's going on campus. So every year for the past 2 years, like I said, we've been able to identify our top 100, usually top employers. And so you can see on this list a lot of great companies, my gosh, large name companies that you can see like Disney or Nike, and smaller name companies. And it really ranges from a lot of different things. It goes off of the number of hires that maybe that company has. But maybe if they're a smaller company, they might have a very high percentage of Chapman alumni that work there. And that is the case for a lot of companies that maybe, you know, they're alumni owned or they're not. But we have even, you know, some in the circle. One of them is List Reports, and a large percentage of their employees are Chapman alumni or Chapman current students that are doing internships, which has been really fantastic. And not only that, the way that they're also picked is based on their level of engagement and how much they are working to recruit our students. And we have different metrics that we do and we keep on our end. And at the end of every year, we identify who these employers are. And we thank them at one of our biggest events. And I hope that you had a chance to attend our State of the University address that happened last Friday. With President Strupa. And again, we honored all of our top employers, and it's just fantastic. And one of the great things is if we have alumni that are working at a lot of these companies, we have really strong relationships with them. They're very active on campus with us recruiting, but it's great because if there's other branches, that Disney is not just located in California. We know there's other locations, again, global as well, and we can definitely put in a good word for those students. And hopefully be able to help them, get maybe that job or that internship. I just put in a recommendation with Monster Energy in Nashville, Tennessee for a student who just graduated last year who was a communications major. And we have great relationships with Monster over here. So we have alumni connections, or we just have a great relationship with that HR department. And so what the biggest thing is, and again, for being here for 6 years, it's been wonderful and an honor to be able to hear our employers say the reason that we think Chapman first, or the reason that we keep hiring, is because we believe that Chapman has that it factor. They have that it factor. There's small ratio of student and professor in the classroom. So they actually make meaningful connections with their professors, who then help them hopefully with those industry connections and also partner with us to help identify those. So Chapman, we really want to make sure that our students have that personalized, education of distinction, like we talk about in our mission statement, but we want to do the same thing for our career. And so that is why it's so important. I know that I talked about Casey a second ago, but the earlier that the student gets in our office, obviously not junior and senior year, and if they do, that's completely fine. But if they can get in there as soon as possible within their freshman year, I guarantee that we'll be able to help them in many, many ways along their career journey, which is really what it's all about. Of course, the education, but at the end of the day, being able to connect them and get them in the industry, get their feet wet. But again, so you can see on this slide a lot of great employers, and there are many, many more, many, many more.
Awesome, thank you, Franny. All right, so once your student happens to begin that searching process, whether that's on Handshake, Indeed, or other platforms that we encourage them to also search for an internship or a job opportunity, it now comes down to the applying part. So what are some items that you should let your student know that they need to have right off the bat? So those 4 things are going to be your the student's resume, the cover letter, their LinkedIn profile, and their interview skills. I cannot stress that enough, firsthand as a former student, as well as within my role as internship coordinator, how important it is for your students to have all of those 4 things up to date and ready to go. Too many times have we seen students, and I'm sure our career educators can also speak to that, because they actually meet with these students virtually to go over their resume, their cover letters, and all these 4 things. But sometimes the student hasn't had or hasn't even touched their resume. They haven't updated it. They haven't added in their new job or their new internship or anything else for that matter. And it's sometimes a little tricky and concerning when an opportunity presents itself, whether that's a job or an internship in this case. And employers sometimes want that stat, if the sooner the better, really. So as soon as a student doesn't have to necessarily wait until an opportunity comes across them to have the resume updated, it's just best to do it as soon as you can. That way, if and when you have an opportunity that presents to them, they can really just give that resume or their cover letter to the employer and say, you know what, we're ready to go. I have this ready for you. The other thing that I also wanted to touch on is LinkedIn. Their LinkedIn profiles. How active is your student with their profile? Is it updated? Are they targeting a specific employer that they're hoping to, be recruited by? Or are they correctly marketing themselves to other employers by their interests, their passions? What's their overall career goal or career plan that we could help them with just getting to the right attention of that employer. So it's super important that the student also has their LinkedIn profile up to date. And if they don't, that's totally fine. That's what we're here for, right? If they have questions regarding the resume, the cover letter, LinkedIn, or even interview skills, they can definitely stop by or virtually stop by our office and meet up with our career educators to help with those areas. interview skills is actually a really hot topic right now too, because before COVID, we used to offer in-person appointments where we would help the student practice their interview skills before their interview with the employer. Now with COVID and everything, we're doing these virtual appointments, but our career educators are very up to date with how to help students at this time, because they're not used to that right now, or they weren't when this all started. They were mainly used to having an in-person interview, and that was already nerve-wracking enough. So can you imagine having your student have to do or conduct an interview, virtually within, looking at a camera and talking to an employer that's on the other side of the screen, can sometimes be very nerve-wracking. So we prep them with what's new, by having these good platforms, can't think of the top of my head, but there are some good platforms and resources within our website that actually take students to practice their interview skills, along with setting appointments with our career educators to practice that as well. But to have all of those 4 items, up to date and practiced by your student is super important for them to be prepared to apply for an opportunity like an internship. All right, so let's say after they've searched, they've applied, and finally they receive that yes from employers that they received the opportunity, they can actually get it for academic credit. So the overview that I wanted to go over with academic credit is a large amount of our students, and actually 80% of our students do pursue internships during their time at Chapman. So that's a large amount that we have, within that majority of that population likes to do that. Every year, Chapman students do register about 1,000 internships for academic credit, with hundreds of unique companies across nearly every industry. Francisca did mention that in one of our previous slides, regarding all the top 100 employers that we work with. But to be completely honest, we work with so many across the country, that students can also pursue those opportunities. And they can also register that for academic credit if they wanted to. And one of the top reasons that students would do that is because they want to fulfill their major, their minor, or their overall graduation requirements before they graduate at Chapman. And then together, these students also gain hundreds of thousands of hours of real world experience. So there's a lot of pros. I have yet to still find out a con of doing an internship. But there's a lot of pros that students can pursue with doing one, both personally and academically, and it benefits them a lot in the long run. One of the things that we get, or I get personally, as within my role as internship coordinator from students, is these myths. One of them being, you can only get academic credit for unpaid internships. And in reality, at Chapman, students can pursue academic credit for both unpaid and paid internships. So if your student happens to hit the jackpot with getting a paid internship opportunity, they're more than welcome to register that for academic credit too. It's not one or the other, it's actually both. So if they want to do that, they are more than welcome to. And I can walk them through that whole process with how to register their internship for academic credit. Other myth that we tend to hear is that only students in programs that require internships to graduate can get credit for an internship. In reality, students of all majors can get up to 12 credits that fit the needs of various lower and upper division academic requirements. So that's about like 50 plus courses that exist. So if, for example, if you happen to have a student that isn't required by their major to fulfill an internship for academic credit, they're more than welcome to use that internship credit to be applied towards their overall graduation requirements. And that does make a difference. So, students tend to get a little creative with the courses that they complete so that they fulfill their requirements. But, why not do an internship? You get that real world experience, and you also fulfill that requirement that you need before you graduate. So once your student happens to be in that process of, registering it for academic credit, before they do that, they have to make sure that they find one and that they secure an internship. So meaning they receive an offer from the employer that states that, we want to pick you as our intern, and here's your start date and everything. So basically officializing that they received the opportunity. Once they do that, what they're going to do is they're going to pursue, or they're going to complete the internship application, which is hosted within or homed within the internship portal. That's also available in our website, and it's going to be provided here on the link that Francisca is going to go ahead and drop in the chat. It's also provided here in our presentation. But within step 2 of the internship application, they are required to find a faculty internship advisor, and that's part of the overall 4 steps that are in the application process. Basically, what a faculty internship advisor is it's this person is responsible in giving your student a pass or no pass, or sometimes a letter grade, for them to receive the internship academic credit. They also serve as a mentor during this process. So if and when a student has a question about their internship, more on the academic side, they would go to this person who would be able to assist them throughout that process. They're also the ones responsible in assigning your student an academic assignment. That could be a term paper, a presentation, a journal, or a paper for them to grade them by. But they're very, very involved within the whole internship registration process for your student. And I'm also there for them, there for them for additional support if they happen to need anything. But basically, within my role, I'm the liaison between the student, the faculty internship advisor, and the site supervisor, who's also known as the employer. And after they complete the internship registration process in the portal, they're able to enter and they're able to have that counted towards their, gain academic credit to have that counted towards either their major, their minor, or their overall graduation requirements. But there's a lot of helpful tips within our career website that also provides information for internships. We do have a very handy and helpful tutorial video that we show students how to complete the registration process. We also have instructions for them to follow for them to complete that. But if and when, they're always welcome to go ahead and email me at internships@chapman.edu. Or they can also give me a call, and I'm more than happy to help them walk through that whole process so that they can successfully register their internship. Alrighty, so we're finally almost towards the end of our presentation. So one of the quick takeaways that we wanted to give to you as parents is, stressing the importance of internships, how much of a priority it is. Like Francisca mentioned, it's not a matter of if you do an internship, but it's a matter of when. If your student, if you happen to be a first-year parent, it's never really too early for your students to start thinking about these things, right? Perhaps some of the qualifications for some opportunities like internships require a student to be a sophomore, a junior, or a senior, but it doesn't mean that your student can't already start looking at those job requirements for them to apply next year, because there's a likelihood that that opportunity will be offered yet again in a different semester or in a different year. But it's good for them to just start doing that process. And it's a matter of how many internships you'll have. So similar to one of the previous slides with Casey, for example, she did more than one internship, right? It helps them become a very well-rounded student with kind of determining what opportunities or where they want to see themselves with the jobs that they're doing in the long run. Do you want to work within this industry or this one? Do you see yourself in this type of work climate or this one? And it really just gives the student an overall idea of what opportunity or what job they want to work in the future. Searching and applying. So plan ahead. It's never too bad to go ahead and plan ahead and get everything squared away now than later. There tends to be a lot of panic when it comes to doing things last minute. That comes with procrastination. But when in doubt, please ask or have them ask for help with our office. We're very, very happy. We're very friendly and welcoming in our office, and we're happy to offer support to students in any area that they need concerning career planning. For example, we have available our job portal, which is Handshake, for them to search for job opportunities, internships, virtual events that we're currently hosting this year, for example, our virtual spring career fair. But we will help them, feel confident in, when they're doing those things, whether that's applying for opportunities or getting things down like their resume or their cover letter. But we're overall just, looking for them to utilize us as their resource, as their support, overall their career connection for life. And earning academic credit, being aware of deadlines. I know it tends to be very crazy as a student, especially when you're in a pandemic. There's a lot going on, and it's very difficult to pinpoint the of these upcoming deadlines. But we try to check in with students every now and then with hey. How are you doing? Just making sure if you have any questions with your internship application. We'll send reminders in our through our weekly career newsletters of upcoming events that we're hosting virtually. But it's always just good for them to just plan out ahead of time what they want to do. But if they have any questions regarding the internships, they can also pursue the chapman.edu internships website to review the registration details and requirements.
Thanks, Nat. And so with that said, like we've talked about, Handshake is really that one-stop shop to schedule a one-on-one appointment with a career educator. And also one of the things that Natalie had shown in one of the slides was all of the different help that we have. So not only do we have our main campus career office, which is our team of about 10 people, we also have our career advisors, and they are stationed within every college. And it's amazing. They report to one of the deans or one of the chairs of their college, and they act as a liaison to our office. So about 3 years ago, when we had really put a big priority, President Sturba put a very big priority on career services, which was fantastic. And we had a lot more resources. And we're not just that general career office. That's something that just seeing with the trends of what's happening, if you were going to come into the office and you're a music major, it's not just going to be, that same generic that resume that we're going to be explaining over and over again. Our team is well equipped to be able to talk about different industries and the way that the resume should look, or the cover letter, or their CV, or maybe they're applying to grad school, whatever that looks like. Handshake is that place that they'll be able to schedule those appointments. I did see in the chat that you were wondering, somebody was wondering where do they go for scheduling that? Again, everything is through Handshake. And with that, with the career fair, so it's perfect alignment that this came up, because next week is our spring career fair. And currently we have 40 employers that are signed up for the event. Ranging from STEM to entertainment. We've got a lot of great employers that are coming. They can view all of the companies that are coming. There is a quick description about what the company is about if they don't know, and then it shows the different job opportunities that are available. And then they can sign up on Handshake again for the one-on-one type kind of interview, or again, they're not going behind a booth this time, it's all virtual, so they're going to be meeting them online with the employer. But that's really nice because it's also very intimate in that sense too. So the great thing is if you can tell your students, your kids ahead of time, hey, look on Handshake and see who's coming, and if you have an interest, sign up, because the spots will be filled sometimes. And if they are, for whatever reason, then we can reach out to our employer on the back end and just ask them if on a different time, if they could meet with your student at a different time, of course, if they're all already at capacity. So again, the career fair is next Wednesday, March 3rd from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. I dropped the link in there for you to see how they can register and get set up and see the employers and get those schedules going. Obviously the resume, they need to have that ready to go because the employer will be asking them for that. And in the Handshake portal, they'll be able to drop in their resume and talk to the employer as they're meeting with them one-on-one. So they definitely want to get that done as soon as possible, at least just kind of looked at by our team if possible. So that's about it as far as the spring career fair, and we'll definitely go into some Q&A questions as well. But Natalie, if you want to go to the next slide.
Definitely. I did want to remind the parents as well. No worries. I did want to remind the parents as well. So if your student happens to feel any type of doubt or hesitations, we are hosting up until the career fair virtual career prep sessions hosted by our career educators. So that is a good space and a good time for students to utilize to meet with our career educators and honestly just let them know, whatever's on their mind regarding the career fair, any questions that you want them to go over. Any doubts, any tips that the student would like to receive from the career educator. But they are offered on Handshake, so that's also a way for them to book an appointment or to tune in to those workshops with them. But that'll be an opportunity for them to take advantage of. Alrighty, but yes, overall,
go ahead.
But overall, together, we will help you become anything imaginable. Chapman is just a wonderful place for students to really thrive, especially when they have such a good support system offered by other campus offices, like our office, in preparing them for really anything that they want to do with their life and with their career life. And I don't know if you wanted to mention anything further with that.
No, that is it. I think at this time what we'll do is we will start the chat.
Perfect. So I will go ahead and stop sharing.
Thank you. All right, so I'm just going to go through a couple. I actually saw some in the very beginning. I was sorry, I'm trying to multitask here. But
No worries.
Jacqueline Kent, I just want to say that I want to give you a million kudos for your comment that you said on, or I'm sorry, it was Greta. It should be mandatory for students to go through the presentation, but you know, they get lots and lots of us. One of the hardest things is we are very competitive on campus. We have a newsletter that goes out every single week to the students, and it shares all of the upcoming events that are happening. They also have ones that are school specific. So if you have a Dodge student, they have their own newsletter. A Wilkinson student, they have their own newsletter. The Schmid students and Fowler students, they have their own newsletter. So every school also uses different mechanisms to communicate the different events that are happening. And again, the career advisors are so wonderful because they are speaking to the student, you know, in particular with regard to their industry. So for example, today, our Schmid and Fowler students within the STEM field have a STEM networking night that we have about 40 amazing employers ranging from the presidents to the CAOs of Kaiser Permanente. We've got an amazing lineup of wonderful employers, and some are alums, some are not, or they're Chapman dads, or there's just some great affiliation that they're connected to our university. And so they are going to be doing a networking, virtual, of course, networking session today. And again, you can see that on our Schmid and Fowler website. You can see that on Chapman's website for more information on that. But we have a lot of different ways that we communicate with our students. And it's, again, not just through our newsletter. Handshake is always great for them. Something else that I would just say is if you have a chance to tell your student, please they have to create an online profile. It's like creating a LinkedIn profile. It's a very, very simple. It will not take them more than 5 minutes. And the more that they put that information in about what their interests are, and if they could upload their resume, put their major, their grad year, as much affiliation, what their activities are, it's a really quick profile for them to just, again, highlight themselves really on there. But the great thing is that I will say that employers, if the student is not going into Handshake on a regular basis, you know, like they, you know, maybe checking social media, we always try to encourage our students, get into Handshake like you're checking your social media for 15 minutes a day. Because if you can, you'll see the different opportunities that exist every single week, and there are thousands and thousands of jobs that exist. We've got some for our alumni, our graduate students, and of course our undergraduate students as well. So just to kind of keep an eye on that, which is really great. But our students are literally going into Handshake these days, and they are finding students. So you don't want to just wait for them to reach out. They'll reach out to you if they have an interest. So it's really important to create that profile on Handshake, I will say. All right.
Awesome. I'm just over here answering Annie's question with the career fair link, but let's see.
I put that in there earlier if you.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Shout out to Michael Campbell. It's nice to see you virtually on here. We love your company staff. Thank you. It is held, so the career fair is from 1:30 to 4:30, and if they, for whatever reason, if there's a student, if there's a conflict and their professor is not able to allow them to attend, some students ask us for proof that maybe, you know, they're going to be missing class to go to the career fair. We can give them whatever it is. It's just a matter of the student communicating with our office. But in the case that they can't make the career fair because there might be some, you know, other conflicts happening, we completely understand. It's happened before. They can simply just reach out to our office, and we would be happy to let our employer know whoever they're interested in and create that introduction via email, and then let them schedule something that works for their at both of their times. Okay.
And then in response to Rick Johnson over in Q&A, so how about volunteer organizations, in particular Doctors Without Borders, for a potential nursing career? I don't know if that was in connection with the internship opportunities, but students can register that for an internship for academic credit if they wanted to. It would just, you know, they would follow that whole process I was explaining earlier with completing the internship application. and then gaining or getting a faculty internship advisor. But if your student happens to be, involved with that already and they want to register that for academic credit, you can let them know that, they can contact us over at internships@chapman.edu, and then we'll walk them through that full process.
And Sally McMillan, I just wanted to answer your question. What does Chapman do to help students coming from out of state try to get them internships back in their home states? Just like I had mentioned previously during our presentation, that we have a lot of students obviously that live in Washington or Texas or Nashville or Florida, from all sorts of different, wonderful states, and we have a lot of different connections, and we tap into our network. So to answer that question, we tap into our current network. We see who we have. If we have an alumni, if we already have that relationship established, then we reach out to them, and then we try to put in a good word with their team, and then kind of go from there. So again, I use the example of Monster Energy. A communications student just graduated last semester, and she is applying in Nashville because that's where her hometown is. Due to COVID, she moved back, so she's no longer in California. So that was one example that we can do. But the great thing about Handshake also that I want to mention is that you can also search for jobs within different states. So it has a filter on there that you can look for industry, how many miles you want it to be away from a certain zip code, whatever it is, and then you'll be able to populate a lot of great data for them to be able to search for those positions and apply. Hope that answers your question, Sally. And again, we do provide all of the, oh, go ahead. I was just,
no, go for it, Frank.
Okay, so Greta, I hope I'm answering this question for you too. We do definitely, they may not get this recording unless you share this with them, but I will say that we're in freshman foundation courses. We're getting in the classrooms and speaking to our students. Again, we have the newsletter. There's so much information that's going out for the students, and to be able to provide all of this information to them. So that information is getting out there. Just a matter of taking advantage of the opportunity and doing it.
Perfect. And then Stuart, in response to your question, will the career fair be in person or all on Zoom? It will be hosted through Handshake, so it will be virtual. And then, I don't know if you answered this, Francisca. Is it held in the evening or while students are in class? I think you already answered that one, right?
It's 1:30 to 4:30 p.m., so mid-afternoon. But again, if they cannot make it, all they have to do is just try to see if they'll be able to get to ask for the flexibility with their professors. Their professors do know that this event is happening on campus. But if for whatever reason they're unable to attend due to those different conflicts, all they have to do is just shoot us an email, and that'll just be at our career@chapman.edu account. And when they go from there, then one of our staff members will take it. It'll get into our hands on our employer relations team, and we'll be able to work with them outside of it if they cannot make it.
Awesome. And then I'm currently looking at Deb's question. So would Handshake also list potential internships that will occur in other areas? For instance, if a student is coming home for the summer. So with the having to be remote and everything, we also have a lot of internship or job opportunities that are remote that could be pursued from wherever home is, whether that's away from California or whatnot. But because we're currently in the spring semester, we will be having a lot more opportunities, whether that's jobs or internships posted by employers as we're approaching the summertime. So have your students keep an eye on that on Handshake. Like I said earlier, we have a lot of opportunities that are constantly updated and approved on Handshake. So, hopefully they're able to find something, but if not, really they can just come by our office and we can help them and support them in every way we can.
Monica, I'm going to answer your question. Can you help them create their first resume? Absolutely. We want them to come into our office as early and often as possible. And if they've not had a job yet, that's totally fine. We will definitely help be able to pool different activities that they've done in high school or whatever it is. We will help them, and they will definitely get the guidance that they need for that first resume that they're doing. I will also say, though, again, we're a career connection for life. So one of the wonderful things is that 3 years ago, when we did a big transformation in our office and we added on an additional 8 staff members within all the different schools and colleges, it's been wonderful because we have had vice presidents of companies that graduated maybe 20 years ago, and maybe COVID or so many different situations where maybe somebody lost their job. The great thing is if we find out about it, then we'll reach out to them or they reach out to us, and we're able to help them with an individualized job search that's very personalized for themselves. And we have amazing, amazing experienced caliber people on our team that have worked at really great companies, and they're very seasoned employees that work in our office that are well equipped to speak to anybody, especially our alumni that may be, veterans in whatever company, and they haven't had to search for a job in 20 years. So what is LinkedIn or whatever those questions might look like? We will be that resource for life for free. There is no charge at any of that. And I think that's one of the things that separates our career office from many other schools. Some schools do have a fee for alumni to pay. And I know my alma mater does, and I can't stand it. I'm just so happy that I'm also an alum of Chapman for my grad school. So it's awesome to know that you have that feature forever, whenever you might need it. And then Tammy, I just wanted to answer your question really fast. Are there internship opportunities with state and local political offices? Yes, we have so many of them to list. We have them locally. We actually had Natalie, one of her student interns, just did one with the city of Santa Ana and a congresswoman. And again, Handshake is the best place for your student to be able to find that information. Natalie, I do believe our presentation will be available for download, right, for review later?
It will, yeah. So as soon as this is all wrapped up, what's going to happen is, like, compared to other or similar to other sessions that were, starting from Monday, they are located, I believe, under in Excel events, but under past sessions. So give it, hopefully by the end of this week, they will be posted, but it will be for your references for the future. And then I don't believe we answered Viviana's question regarding, are there significant opportunities during COVID, or has that really declined? Mine is a Dodge student. I don't know if you want to take that away.
Yeah, so Dodge, obviously, entertainment industry, hospitality industry, there's many different industries that have been hit because of COVID, and we are very well aware of that. We work very closely with our employers to see if they're still working there. Unfortunately, we've lost some of our recruiting contacts at these different companies, but nonetheless, things are starting to kind of pick up again, which has been really great, especially in the entertainment arena. So there are a lot of different internships, and I will say that I know that it's a little bit of a different time for them to search for them, but we definitely have resources and they can talk to our team about that individually. The great thing that I can say too is that if they, like Heather Grustus, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, advice for students whose major and minor are different colleges. The great thing about Chapman is that they have a plethora of resources. So if I am a business student and I'm also a Dodge student, or I might be a STEM student and a business student, we have really amazing combinations with our students here. I've seen triple majors. They can use every single resource possible, and I would say do as much as that as you can. The great thing is we all communicate with each other, but there might be, again, if I'm super focused on STEM, then I'm going to know that there's a networking night that they need to go to today if they haven't already signed up. There's just a lot of great opportunities. So take advantage of all of them. We are the main campus career office, but if they might be a law student, they have their own small career office in the law school and also in the business school as well. So, I mean, capitalize on as much of that, of all of our resources as possible is the advice that I would say.
Let's see what else. What other questions we have here? And just I wanted to let you all know before we wrap up at 1. So if in the event where we aren't able to answer your questions, we will be able to reach out to you and specifically answer your question. But if we don't happen to come to that, no worries. We'll get a track of you. All right. Let's see.
Rico, to answer your question.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, no, go for it.
Okay. Rico, to answer your question, if the student does not have a car, does she use public transportation? I would say that is completely incumbent upon the student. We can definitely we have resources in the student affairs, the department, to be able to maybe help them and find other resources that may be able to help them if they are in a situation that they do not have transportation. I've seen it happen several times with different students who want to get that internship in LA. They have that drive from Chapman to LA because it's for that entertainment company and they absolutely need that internship, or it's the last credit that they have to get for them to graduate. So there's definitely resources. If they don't have transportation, they can definitely talk to us, but and then we'll take it from there and try to help them with those resources. And Simeon Menmon, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Did you say that the business school has their own career office? Yes, they do have a smaller career office. We are in our career office, we're a team of 18. The business school, I think, has about 5 or 6. But nonetheless, they're all really amazing. Again, we work really closely with them, and they can definitely, like I like to say, double dip in all these different resources to help them.
All right, I believe Barbara has a question. So can you please advise when you work directly with your office versus working directly with the individual school career representative, example, Ardros?
Sure, I can take that. So if we have students that are going in, obviously accounting, right? Our office works with a lot of different accounting firms, the big four, whatever they might be. And if it's something that like a real estate, degree or accounting or business marketing or whatnot, we do in our career office see a lot of business students, but we also refer them to also utilize their office as well. We never turn a student away, but if they're going to be pursuing an MBA, again, it just, they have extra resources that are much more industry specific and aligned for that. So they'll have different events, again, like Meet the Firms. They'll have different agencies come in and students will be able to meet with those different companies. So I hope that kind of differentiates what we do, but we would never turn down a student, but we always make sure that they know that there's other resources available to them pertaining to their majors or grad school or whatever it might look like.
Thank you, Francisca.
Can parents get a handshake login? That is an awesome question that I do not think you can. I think you can have your student's account if they let you, but we don't give that to anybody except for our current students. So I will say that. Current students and alumni, I'm sorry.
Let's see, Beth, what kind of training and coaching do you offer to help the students put their best foot forward during an interview or a resume? So I'm like, I don't know, we're super excited about that. I am very passionate about that question just because I can really say how well our team is equipped to help your student with any questions they have about career planning. So we host a lot of virtual events with, resume training, interview training, and anything really that they need help in that revolves around career planning. They can check out these events on Handshake to see when they're going to be hosted. But really, they don't have to wait for that event to come along. They can just email us at career@chapman.edu. And one of us, whether it's career educators or our front desk, will get a hold of that student and let them know how to book their appointment on Handshake so they can meet up with one of our career educators.
And also just to add with our career education team, a lot of them are certified in Myers-Briggs, MBTI, Strengths, Strong Interests Inventory. There's a lot of different assessments that are out there, and they are all related to career. Our staff are certified, they're trained, and in addition to their one-on-one with maybe just, career exploration, what are you going to do? What are your strengths? Where do they lie? And how to hone into those different skills that you have and maybe look at the different occupations that exist. We do provide all of that information to them. We pay for them to take those assessments if they're interested. So again, they can schedule all of that through our office as well.
All right, we have a few more minutes left. So I will go ahead and answer Stuart, which is his question is, are internship databases available online and remotely? So students at this time are able to pursue 100% remote internships and register them for academic credit. So if they happen to fall upon one on Handshake or through networking, they're absolutely able to register that for credit. And they can do that by doing it through the internship portal. And then, so Beth, will you be addressing summer internships specifically? On my point of view with the registration process, that is an option for students to also register for. Currently, right now, the only active term in the internship portal is spring 2021. But right before spring break, students are going to be registering for both summer and fall 2021 terms, and that'll be an opportunity for students to go ahead and register as internships. The only thing I do want to address, and it tends to be an issue for students because it involves tuition. So during the summer, not only are internships paying per credit, but it's also involves with courses. Any type of course that is taken on at Chapman or virtually at Chapman do involve a tuition cost for every credit the student registers for. So the one of the solutions that we provide to students or recommendations is registering for minimum half a credit, which is about 20 hours that they would complete at the internship site, so that they don't have to commit to the full tuition rate that we currently have. But if you have any questions regarding that, we do have information on our internship website, but you can see more about the tuition rates within the Student Business Services Office, which has more information regarding that. All right, everyone. So we are about to wrap up. We only have 1 minute left, but like I said, we will be able to answer those questions if we did not have the opportunity to do so today. But if you have any questions or you want to, do further investigate or look into our website, you're more than welcome to. I know Francisca included some helpful links to our website. But thank you so much overall for your time, for being here today, for tuning in, and giving us your questions regarding your student. But I don't know if Francisca, if you want to say anything else more.
No, we'll do our best to answer these questions from our team. We'll be able to hopefully respond to them. So hopefully you can leave your contact information. But if not, we have dropped earlier in the chat, and we'll do it again. Natalie, if you can put our email addresses in there, that would be perfect. Just for you to reach out to us directly, and we would love to be able to have a conversation with you, help your student, or just share anything or go anything else that we didn't get a chance to elaborate on today. But thank you so much for your time. This is an amazing university, and we are so honored to be able to help your students, and we will be there from any point in time of their career. We are there for them as that career connection for life.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.